I mean, it's extraordinary to think that here we are 100 years on since emancipation, full emancipation for men, of course, in the UK, but only some emancipation for women, in that 100 years ago, only some women got the vote. We must remember that. And 100 years on, we have a situation in this country where women represent half the population, yet as MPs in Parliament, only a third of them are women, and indeed only a quarter of the members of the House of Lords are women. So we're still really quite a long way behind. Also looking at boards, any management boards and so on of companies in the UK, there are really not enough women represented on those boards. So political reform to me is ensuring that we do get that parity, that we get gender equality. Indeed, in some Scandinavian countries, I believe they've made it mandatory now for there to be equal representation on boards and so on, and that's really important. When I first went into the Welsh Assembly in 2003, we were fortunate enough to have complete gender balance, 30 men and 30 women members. And in fairness, that was down to one party who believed in shortlisting candidates and positive discrimination. And so I do think that's the way forward, really, because we are never going to get parity. If you look at how long it's taken us to get that representation in the UK Parliament of women, it's going to take a very long time indeed to catch up with the men if we do nothing. So that's one aspect of political reform that I am passionate about, and particularly in terms of emerging democracies and new and young democracies. They need to look very carefully about their female representation. And similarly, votes for 16-year-olds, I think that's a no-brainer now. Looking at the previous referendums that we've had in this country, for example, the Scottish referendum in 2014, the Scottish referendum on independence, where Holyrood passed a bill so that 16-year-olds could vote in that. We've seen a huge take-up of voting and an interest in politics. Similarly now in the National Assembly for Wales, they've also passed that 16-year-olds will be able to take part in local government elections, vote in those elections. So it's a bit scrappy and unfair that we have certain parts of the UK where this is allowed and yet it's not uniform. And to me, I think if you can, at 16, you can join the armed forces, you can get yourself a national insurance card, join a trade union, make a baby, then it's a no-brainer. Of course, you should be able to vote.